Welcome to AnimeUnraveled. I am Tristan Morrill.
I am Tristan Morrill, and Tristan Morrill is not here. We don't even have a wide shot because we only have two cameras. Yeah. It would have been really funny to cut out, and it's just us two sitting here with an empty spot. You can't see that empty spot because of the framing, but imagine that there's an empty spot.
In this direction.
Like up in here.
Normally be about right here-ish.
So it's the OG cast. That's it. It's getting all the time. Just OG. We had a recent OG.
We did.
You know, we're actually, here's the thing. We're kicking them out. Tristan knew you were going to see this. No, things come up and stuff happens. But yeah, so we're here on the AnimeUnraveled podcast channel. Just the two amigos.
Jeez, bud. Well, how about we just hop in?
Yeah, let's do it, man. What are we talking about?
A few weeks, maybe a week ago.
Okay.
You guys brought up the fact that Solo Leveling the anime is going to have some changes.
It is.
Yeah, well, I couldn't really get all of my thoughts together at the time because
you were too hurt.
I was too hurt by the news.
the biggest Solo Leveling fan that I know.
I mean, honestly, I do have the poster hanging up.
Yeah, the frame poster.
But so the changes that I've seen that I think, honestly, what the fuck are you even doing?
Sure.
The first of all, changing the main character's name, Sung Jin Woo to Mizushina Shun, which
at least it wasn't like Steve.
Yeah, that would be real weird. But a lot of people were like, okay, well, they're changing him to be Japanese. Doesn't matter. The thing is, his original name actually had a point. Like, it was an Easter egg in its own way. Mm-hmm. Because Sung, successor, or one on the verge of winning, is what that translates to.
Oh.
And Jinwoo is treasured friend, which, he does have his bro in that story.
Right.
But,
so the author actually put some thought in the name.
He put thought into the naming. Now, if you translate the Japanese name, not so much.
It's almost
it's like fluid something. It means nothing.
It's almost like, you shouldn't mess with the author's work to a degree so much so that
it's going to be unrecognizable in some way. Like, once you start changing these things that, honestly, a lot of people consider small things, like, oh, if they just, for the other dubs, like, change the names back.
Right.
You could maybe do that, but at the same time, they're also changing where he's stationed to Japan. So it's not going to be in Seoul, South Korea.
Right.
So,
and for later on in the story, that's a deal. That's a thing.
Yeah, that's a big thing, but I understand why they want to make the change because Solo Leveling does paint Japan as the bad guys horribly for one arc. Mm-hmm. It's like the Chimera Ant arc. I don't think that's what it's actually called, but that's what I call it.
You feel it.
It's very similar to Hunter x Hunter. And which during this arc, Japan really, they literally are like, we'll stab you in the back and don't give a fuck. Like, this is all just for political gain to us.
And we kind of talked about this, I think even on the podcast stuff when it got announced, is are they going to do something like that? Because you got to think of, from what we know as people being in America about the culture of Japan. So, we don't live there. We don't know, so this is just what we have heard and read and stuff like that. It would have been really awkward, I think, for a Japanese studio to animate something like that.
So I get that. And I thought about this pretty hard too, but you have to think Mappa obviously did God of High School.
It's true.
In which there were definitely competitors from different nations that were painted pretty awful.
Very true.
Yeah, and the thing is, in Solo Leveling, you're going to have other countries in there, like America. And Russia. They're painted pretty shitty. Throughout the story, America gets a bad rap for a little while. They eventually come around. Yeah. Russia, on the other hand, does not. Russia just gets painted as greed.
Yeah. You think that maybe it's just because that IP got popular in the scene, because that's one of the first manhwas that I have seen being on the manga YouTube space.
Yeah.
That a lot of people picked. It really got a lot of momentum, even so you read it 4 times already. You know what I'm saying?
Too many times.
A lot of times. You're a big fan of it.
Mistakes are made.
But it's almost to the fact of if a company that maybe has problems with or adapting all of it, why pick an IP like that?
That's essentially where my thoughts are
besides
on it.
money.
Yeah, I mean, that's all it is. They know there's going to be revenue to be made.
But you would think, right? Okay, let's say we're sitting in that boardroom in that meeting, and someone said we're going to change the name, and
so that's the thing.
You're going to lose the fan base immediately.
Like literally all of the forums I've read, are people that are like, I don't give a fuck. I just want to see the action, in which
Fair.
I get that because Solo Leveling has some badass shit that goes on.
Right.
But if you're actually there for the story, you're not going to want to even check this out.
Yeah.
Like, the narrative has completely been changed. Like, they're making up a fake nation for that one arc where Japan is the bad guy. Like,
are they?
Yeah, instead of painting another nation as the bad guy, which, again, there are still going to be
other nation.
Unless they're just going to be like, no, all of the bad characters are just from this place.
Or from the Clover Kingdom.
Yeah, basically. Like, that's what they're going to have to do unless they're just like, no, Japan's the only one that can't be painted as a villain. Because China, for example, is represented as well in Solo Leveling, in which they're not actually painted as a villain, but at the same time, they're like an outlier because they don't even follow the same system. Because as far as the hunters in Solo Leveling, they're all ranked like D through S or whatever.
Right.
Yeah, China doesn't even do that. They're like, no, we have like 5-star hunters. They're like the monster hunter of it. And which their best hunter, he even broke that system because they were like, nah, he's a 7-star hunter, which doesn't even exist.
He is too strong.
Yeah, so
I don't know. I think that's such tippy-toey stuff.
It is, in which
that it doesn't make sense besides the money. But on that aspect doesn't make sense because if you know how fans react and it's the people that do Sword Art Online, right? So this company knows how fans can react to things. You would think common sense wise, if you're not being at least somewhat faithful to an adaptation, why do the adaptation? Because you know, or unless you think that your clientele or the fans they're like they won't care.
Yeah, they won't care. They just want to see the action. So this is literally the first anime that's ever driven this thought into my mind.
Mm-hmm.
Like, also there's a few other changes. Like, monarchs are maybe gonna be called captains, which I think is ridiculous. Like,
hey, getting that Bleach.
Yeah, basically, are you just trying to relate it to Bleach? I don't know, but
it's almost like they don't want to touch that aspect of the story, but they want to make an anime, and they're trying their best to not offend people. I guess
it seems like they're trying not to offend people, but
why pick it then?
Yeah,
why pick it if you're not going to do it?
Because there's so much hype. There was so much hype behind it. Like, now I feel like the hype is gone.
You think it's going to make a season 2? You think it's going to make it?
Dude,
what if it turns? What if this is one of the first?
A1 Pictures does have enough money that they could make all the seasons they want.
They got the sword arm.
Yeah, they got that sword arm.
They're printing those figures. You know what I'm saying?
I mean, some guy did buy like 10K worth of
yeah.
Kirito figures. Like, dear God,
he's out there. That's what I'm saying. They got whales. They got whales out there.
But this is the first anime adaptation that's ever made me think it's almost to the same level as a live action adaptation.
Ooh.
Because you have to think it's almost like what they did with like Dragon Ball Evolution. Like, why was Goku going to school?
Why was he hood sliding across that Mustang?
Why was he using gel in his hair? Like, these are questions I have.
I will not stand for Dragon Ball Evolution, the greatest live action it's ever.
It is the greatest live action ever. But the thing is, so after thinking about that and thinking about Solo Leveling, I got to the thought that, honestly, all of the live actions they're doing nowadays, it feels like it's more of fan fictions than the actual original works. Because even the Snow White movie that's coming out.
There's a Snow White movie coming out?
Okay, so you don't know about this.
I do not know. I knew they did the Huntsman with Thor.
Oh, well,
I never saw it, but I knew they did a movie.
That's not. They at least were going on their own kind of thing with that. This is literally supposed to be like, oh, this is just live action Snow White.
Okay.
Okay, so the Snow White adaptation, they're making a bunch of changes.
Yeah.
It's a little weird.
Yeah.
Because originally in Snow White, obviously the princess is like, KO'd from eating apples.
Yeah. Getting roofied.
Yeah, basically by a witch, which is crazy. Disney, how did you adapt this?
Dude, I think if we went back, and I'm not the biggest Disney fan. I don't know that much about Disney. But I bet you it's almost to the fact of how did they get away? Different times.
Well, yeah,
like,
because
how did they get away with a lot
it
of
is
things?
a really weird concept because I think in the original, the prince didn't even know this
lady
Snow White at all, and just is like, oh yeah, I'm just gonna kiss her while she was asleep.
I hear you.
Yeah, like
I hear you.
Like maybe that's why they're straying away from the original story,
Probably.
but it's real weird the amount that they are straying away from it because literally, this isn't like, oh yeah, it's just a random story. This is like a fairy tale that was from the Brothers Grimm, like in the early 19th century.
It is a staple it's timeless.
Yeah.
It's one of those timeless tales, and it's getting to the point, and not even like I didn't know too much about Snow White, but I'll say anything like like The Little Mermaid got a live action, and Aladdin with Will Smith as
Will
a genie.
Smith is a genie.
But it's almost to the fact of why.
Well, yeah, so that's the thing. Like, no one has been happy with any of these live actions. So my thing is,
the Lion King one with the weird, like, realistic lions.
dude, okay, yeah, that was fucking weird.
It's so strange.
Like, I couldn't. I've gone to not opera, but like, you know, they have
Broadway.
I've gone to Broadway. I've seen live action, like
I saw the Lion King.
Lion
live
King.
action
I saw that
with like the people in the green suits with the Timon and Pumbaa. Oh yeah, I was there.
Yeah, it was worth.
What if we were there at the same time?
It would be crazy.
That
like
would
if
be
that
odd.
was the case, that would be so cool.
It's serendipitous, man. Because I was young, dude. I was young when I went.
I wasn't super young.
I would say like I was double digits, but I was maybe 11, 12.
Maybe somewhere around there.
We could have been to the same showing, Rex.
Maybe. Chances are slim.
We got to go back in time.
Yeah,
we got to get a time machine.
Just be like, I'll just start screaming peppers.
Be like, that's me.
hey, why is that guy screaming at me? Oh my God, serial killer.
Oh God, he's so old. I'll never get that old. Couldn't be me. And then I'm behind you and you're like, man, I've gained weight. I've lost a little hair too. What's the deal?
I made mistakes.
Couldn't
I gotta
be
turn
me.
my life around.
Yeah. And then we come back and we're rich.
Dogecoin. I got
this is what I'm saying.
but
yeah, no, I think that is like the biggest thing of all of this thing to kind of to like, you know, put it all together is why do they
keep doing these?
I guess it's
well,
money.
yeah, it's money, but the thing is, none of these movies are doing incredibly well. Like, once you realize, hey, the live actions aren't really working out, why would you not think of, hey, okay, if live actions aren't working out, how else could we maybe go back and change this? And my thought, which this would be a stretch,
okay,
but it would be amazing if they ever did it.
All right.
Is you already got Studio Ghibli working with Lucasfilms, which is currently under Disney.
I see where this is going.
So why would you not just maybe do a collaboration with Studio Ghibli to redo the Disney films? Those films would be timeless.
Listen to this man.
Like,
this man is giving you free money.
This is literally printing money. Like, I don't know a single soul alive that would not want to see the Disney movies remade into Ghibli world.
I remember, I think I might have sent it to you or you might have sent it to me, but the Dragonball poster from Studio Ghibli.
Yeah.
Like the fan-made thing.
Yeah.
I would eat that. Like that is, you're printing money.
Yeah.
And I think you're right. I think instead of going
live action, like,
action,
if you did it in that way, like, you could get an all-star cast for voice acting. Mm-hmm. You could get someone to... And
Ghibli already has that in because you already have had the Matt Damons and the Christian Bales voicing their stuff. So you could get the names. And you're right. And also, if you look recently of like the big money-making movies, right? Mm-hmm. The Super Mario Brothers movie did really well, you know, because I think the days of, I hope at least as two grown men that do an anime podcast, and just two. Not
Sorry, brother.
Sorry. But I think that the days of that animation shit is for kids is long gone.
I mean, people have long since seen, like, anime can do all kinds of things.
And even animation.
And, well, yeah, animation for sure. And which, my thing is, as someone that did grow up with Disney films, which this is a whole other kind of cultural thing, like, whenever I was drawing as a kid, my parents would be like, oh, you want to grow up to like work for Disney? And I was like, no. Like, I want to draw like anime stuff because literally, if you look at the quality of animation, especially the first time I ever saw a Studio Ghibli movie in comparison to Disney, Disney ended up going and using CGI and stuff. You go back and look at Gibble's movies.
The Gibbles was out there doing it.
It was on fucking point. Like, the amount of detail, the amount of life that is literally in the background of those films. Amazing.
Amazing.
Like a new movie that came out pretty recently, Suzume, not by Studio Ghibli.
But
it's a Shinkai film.
Yeah.
Literally just shows how well animation can be done. Like, once again, it's like the next step. Like, maybe you don't like the story so much. I thought it was all right, but
it's
you can't say the animation isn't on point.
I can't wait to watch it. You've hyped me up because we've talked, off microphones about it. You've hyped me up to watch it, and it sounds like one of those movies, which Shinkai had, because that's like Your Name and stuff like that.
It's all the most beautiful films.
Yeah, it's kind of like you can say whatever you want about the story. You go there because that animation, people blood, sweat, and tears into that thing.
And which I do think with Suzume, they definitely used a little bit of CGI, but the animation flows with it so well.
I think that's a good sign of an adaptable studio because I think in today's day and age, it's just kind of like, and I know this is like a touchy subject, right? But I think it's kind of like AI, right?
Yeah.
If you're, let's say, people, entrepreneurs trying to grow a brand, you can use AI in a sense that can offload some of that work. And I think using it in that way, and I'm not saying outright stealing people, like we talked on the last episode about people getting scanned in, background actors, that's fucking wrong. And that's, or at least give them residuals, like at least get paid if you're using a person.
If you're using someone's image or their voice, I do feel like they need residuals.
Right.
Especially considering the amount of money that's made off of these products.
Exactly. But I think that if you can use tools to make the life of your employees better, you would be a fool of a studio not to do that, especially if we talk about, and this is a whole other topic that we would need to do a lot of research and be knowledgeable about because it's very important. It's a very important topic. But if you're talking about the lives of animators, especially in Japanese culture, and everybody knows how hard and fast and
the amount of
hours that they have to work. And if you're a studio that is using tools while compensating your workers to make their lives better, I think that's a positive.
Oh yeah, 100%. It's just the moment when they're like, oh, well, now that
we don't need you.
Yeah, we can cut down our workforce because we have this to do some of the work.
It's a balancing act, and it's hard to because of greedy corporations. Rex, any thoughts? So many.
Oh,
but
this isn't the podcast.
This is the podcast. We're gonna start another podcast.
The political
podcast.
Where we just break down all the walls.
Yeah, exactly. You do one episode and get canceled immediately. I mean,
either canceled or drone attack.
Or hey, who knows, right?
Maybe we'll get lucky.
Love the government. They're listening. But I think it's such a hard act to balance because corporations are bottom dollar, and I don't have an answer. If I had an answer, we would be in a different position because like I would be out there making the movement happen if I had that answer. But like you were saying, with using like 3D animation or even like AI generated animation, I think you're going to have to see that more incorporated into stuff.
I'm sure it's going to have to happen.
But it's how do you incorporate it without taking away from your employees? That's going to be the tough part. And I don't know. I see it going bad, and I see a path.
I mean, I see a path where people could just not live at their jobs. Maybe actually
have a life.
Well, have a life, but if they're able to produce things faster, they could put even more care into their creations.
Yeah.
Like, I know that's how I would do if I actually had something that was helping me out like that.
Right.
But not everyone's that way. Some people would take advantage and just,
get
do
lazier.
The bare minimum.
Yeah. And
which that's why there's always the conflict between, should we actually keep more employees or
right? Because then you're right, and I don't know.
It's tough.
It's tough. Like that's kind of like the bottom line of it is it's tough. But you know what's not tough? I'm gonna try to do this seamlessly transition.
Oh,
I know when I point it out, it makes it better. You get what I'm saying? You know what's not tough? Loving JJK, Jujutsu Kaisen.
You're not wrong.
It's not tough at all.
That's the easiest fucking thing in the world.
That is the easiest thing in the world to do.
I've only seen the first 3 episodes of this new season, but dear fucking God. Like that first episode, I was like, for a moment, I was like, they went a little heavy with the CGI for the first few minutes.
Yeah.
But after that, I was like, never mind, they got it.
They figured it out. Dude, I've also only seen the 3 episodes, right? By the time this comes out, there's going to be 5. We're 2 behind, Rex. Oh, no.
Future us problems.
Future us problems. But I think it cannot be understated. We talked a little bit about this off the microphones, but I don't think it can be understated how quickly Jujutsu Kaisen became part of the conversation again.
Oh, yeah.
It was wild to see. It was wild to fucking see. Like, I feel like no one on the internet has talked about JJK, and then that first episode dropped, and it was like, fuck, you guys heard about the Jujutsu Kaisen? It's amazing.
Well, it's like when the movie came out. People actually kind of shit on it a little bit because they're like, well, where's our season 2? Like, we don't want a prequel. Meanwhile, season 2 comes back. It's a prequel, but fucking everyone's on board now.
Yeah, everyone's like, oh, it's a prequel about Gojo?
Yeah.
I'm in.
Like, because it has so much intrigue in it. Like, they built it up just right.
This is going to be studied in the history books.
For how to do a flashback?
How to do a flashback arc. Like, it is so wild to me, right? And I think Jujutsu Kaisen 0 was the same way. I think we did a whole episode on that. But
oh, yeah, I think Jujutsu Kaisen 0 was well done.
For a flashback movie and stuff like that. But this is going to be fucking studied because I have never, and I'm not going to spoil anything that happens in the 3rd episode, but characters that make it.
Yeah, they live.
Things happen to them, and you're still on the edge of your seats. And I can't explain how they've done it. Because
I have no idea.
So many animes have done flashbacks where they put characters in jeopardy. You're like, I don't give a fuck.
Yeah, it's like Dragon Ball Z movies. You're like, oh,
I
God,
don't give a fuck.
Goku and Trunks are about to die now.
Nah, like, I don't care. And the way that they have made you care so quickly.
About new characters. Newly established characters.
And characters that are going to survive. And you care what happens to them, and you care about the story that's going on, and you feel like they're building out this world, and the things that they're showing and doing and telling you as an audience member is making you think about stuff that's happened in, like, season 1. You know, like,
it relates.
It is a fucking masterclass in how to do a flashback arc.
It is, because you can literally see, like, Gojo's development for why he is probably the way he is with its story.
Yeah, like, and that's the crazy part.
It's crazy.
Like, you're seeing it and you're like, his choices in the first season where he is painted as this character that's kind of aloof but super powerful, you know? You're like, no, he's had trauma and shit and things happen to him. That's the reason that he decided to make the decision with Sukuna and all that in season 1. And you're like, fucking, how do you do it, dude?
That, and honestly, just the way that they've done some of the music, the timing of it.
Oh.
Especially episode 3. You will know once you see it.
You know what we're talking about with episode 3.
You know immediately. I don't have to describe the situation. You fucking know. It's cinematic as fuck.
It's cinematic as a motherfucker.
It's a masterclass.
It is. That's the best word. I know that's pretentious as fuck to say, but it is the best way to describe it. I don't like music. Don't care. This
I do.
Fucking dude. The way that they do that ending credit scene,
dude,
is amazing.
It was a sucker punch.
It was.
Like, I felt agony for like a moment. I was like, dear fucking God.
Right. And that's the thing that, and it's kind of like what you talked about with like cinematicness of it. Mappa, who just got off Chainsaw Man, that very much wears its influence on its sleeve of like, we watch Pulp Fiction a bunch. Like, can you tell that we love
Big Lebowski?
We love
that movie.
We love them. So much so that their beginning was literally shots from movies.
Yeah, it was just shots from movies. Which was cool.
Which was cool for that story. But I think to see the cinematic quality of that they're paying homage to to pacing in films and shot composition in films in like a nerdy way to say that, but they're not showing it on their sleeve. They're doing it on the screen.
Yeah.
And you can feel it. Like, and this is not a spoiler, but like the aquarium thing where they're walking around, that's just so, it just feels like you're watching a Jujutsu Kaisen movie, but it's a fucking 20-minute episode.
I was about to say, like, honestly, these first 3 episodes, you could make a movie out of it. And if it cut off right there at the end, that would be the fucking greatest.
To be continued.
Yeah, greatest cliffhanger of any movie I've ever seen.
You're going to be like that lady when I watched Matrix Reloaded when it said to be continued. She's like, what the fuck? Dude, I was like 13 when that movie came out, and we were sitting at the AMC, and all I heard behind me was, what the fuck? I never forgot it. Like, lady, if you somehow watch this and you never met me, you could never know that. But if you were one of those people that stood up and said, what the fuck in Matrix Reloaded, get in contact. You changed my life.
I think the only movie I've ever had that kind of experience with was, I think the second prequel for the Star Wars movies.
Attack of the Clones?
Yeah, because in the theater I went to watch it at, the moment it got to the Yoda and Count Dooku fight,
right,
the film fucked up and the screen went black. Everything shut off. Like literally right when Yoda was about to get fucking in it.
You got blue balls on the
fucking I was just like, either you give me my money back right now or you replay this exact area.
Yeah, because I wonder at the time that we were growing up, back in the olden days when we were chiseling on stones. If you could rewind, like if they were, or were they film?
It was definitely film, and they did have to back it up.
Oh.
It took like 10 minutes for them to. Then at that point, like the hype was like.
Yeah, you can't. The pacing and all that shit.
Everything was just screwed up. And I was like, yeah, this still doesn't.
You've ruined this for me.
You ruined this moment.
I mean, Attack of the Clones, some would say, is the best prequel one.
I
like Revenge of the Sith. I'm a third guy.
So Revenge of the Sith kind of got messed up for me because
you just have bad luck with Star Wars movies. I went to see Star Wars movies with you, and we did not have bad luck.
Well, no, we did not. But
except it was The Last Jedi, and I wasn't the biggest fan. Like that was the worst luck that we could have.
Yeah, same. But no, what happened with Revenge of the Sith is, I don't know if you're aware of this, but before it got released, there was a leak. And it got out to China. And then they did the translation back to English in China. And the translation was very bad.
Right. I don't remember this.
It came to America. And it was, what were they called? Like the fake DVDs.
Fake DVD? Like bootleg?
Yeah, it was bootleg? It was basically a bootleg from China that got to the U.S. earlier than the film was released. That's my first experience with it. And literally,
gross.
It's the funniest movie you will ever watch. It completely screws up the film after you watch it this way, though, because
But it holds a special place in your mind.
It holds a special place because okay, so when he's like killing Padme, which isn't a spoiler.
Oh my God, you're spoiling Star Wars.
Oh my God,
no,
it's only been out for 20 years.
Oh God,
don't talk about how old we are.
Don't do it. Don't do it.
Yeah. Anyways, instead of her being like no or whatever, it's like do not want. That's what she said instead, because like all the translations were super bad.
Yeah, but her no is the reason that Darth Vader goes no. Like it plays.
Yeah, it fucked up everything.
Oh God, did Darth Vader scream? Do not want.
Yes, he did.
Fucking perfect. This is the greatest thing I've ever heard.
It was hilarious to watch.
Awesome, dude. So good.
It's kind of like when X-Men Wolverine Origins came out, and
they did leak it with the green screen.
It was leaked with the green screen. It was literally like the helicopter was just like a toy. Again, one of the best experiences ever.
Honestly, made that movie better.
It made that movie better because I then watched that movie and I was like, I missed the other one. Yeah, like I still try my best to find that bootleg. I can't.
If you have a copy, please
send it my way.
Dude, fuck. You're not wrong. Like bootlegs. Have you ever had any like bad, funny or good experience with bootlegs of animes growing up? Because you were more into the anime scene and stuff.
No, but I did watch the first time I saw. It's like Ghost Stories. Do you
yeah,
know that?
you've told me about Ghost Stories because the dub is legendarily bad.
The dub is legendarily bad because literally they threw out this. They burned the script and we're just like, free ball it. Let's go
for it. Like
the first time I watched that, I thought it was a bootleg
because of how bad.
Oh, it is so bad. Like literally, that would not be made.
No,
today. I'm pretty sure they're trying to burn it somewhere.
Like they're trying to hide it.
They're trying to hide that.
This can never get out
because the stuff they say in that
would not fly today.
It would not fly at all.
Yeah, they would somehow get sued or something, or even worse.
Much worse.
I gotta check this out.
You should watch it. It's pretty.
I wonder if it's streaming anywhere. Do you think they would stream that dub? I bet it is.
I bet it is because it's not like the licensing's like super cheap because no one wants their hands on it.
And the thing about it is the only people that would know that it's legendarily bad is like fans, right? And I'm gonna be honest with you, fans are probably not running Hulu. You get what I'm saying? So they're just like super cheap anime dub. People love this anime. I mean,
chances are it might be on Hulu.
I bet it might be. We'll go check. Because that seems like an experience I need.
It's an experience worth having, and it's not a long series, so it's
perfect,
worth a watch. But it is literally these voice actors. I'm surprised they had jobs after this, like ever again.
Do you know what they did after this? I bet we can look it up.
I know some of them definitely did keep going because there were some decent names in there.
Ooh. Interesting.
Spicy.
Very spicy.
But yeah, definitely check it out.
I should.
That's the closest thing to like other than like people with bridging and stuff.
Well, abridging is
very much different.
We've already done a whole episode on that, but like abridging is designed to be funny.
Well, yes.
To poke fun at the medium of anime.
I feel like that's what they I honestly think Ghost Stories maybe is the thing that created abridging to some extent because
I wonder.
Literally they were told you can't change name. Well, yeah, I don't think they could change names or like the set premise, but anything else was free range.
Yeah.
So literally they just went in there and did whatever they wanted.
They were just like, hey, we got well, you got to think when this came out,
it was early 2000s.
Yeah, anime was not big business like it is now.
Also, Ghost Stories literally did horrible in Japan. They literally were just like, do anything you can to make it sell. And so they did.
They did. Who was the first abridger?
Lil Karibo.
Before Team 4-Star?
Yeah, he was way before them.
I wonder if he got inspired by like bad dub. It's got to be though. It has to be.
I would assume. I would love to ask him. My brother actually met him.
Yeah.
And sadly, instead of asking him, he instead mimicked one of the extremely crazy voices from that series.
Good call.
And Lil Karibo looked at him like, how is that even possible? I use voice modulators to get to that.
Impress the man. That's right. He dropped his dick on the table and said, listen to me, peasant. That sounds like your brother.
Yeah, 100%. Yeah. That's what he does.
I thought he was fucking with me. So I get it. Like, that sounds like your brother. He was not. But boy, did I think it.
Yeah, you took a turn.
I apologize. On recording. I apologize afterwards, but on recording as well. I am so sorry. I really fucking, in my soul, I believed it. I said, fucking quit it. Stop doing it. It's not, I got it.
Good times.
It was. I felt so shitty about that.
You were having a mental break.
Oh, man, dude. But yeah, man, I am so excited that Jujutsu is back. I know that's a weird transition to go back to. Again, if I call it out, it makes it better. But I am so excited that not only, and I guess, and this kind of like something that we could talk about too, because I struggle with this. So I feel like it's hard for me to judge anime fairly, and I'll tell you why.
Okay.
Is because I read
so much manga.
So much. Like I read so much. Like I've kind of, talked to you about some manga that I've been reading.
Yeah, real good.
ShonenJump app, if you have it, it's $3, totally worth it. Wild Strawberries is on it.
Yeah, check it out.
And it is absolutely incredible. It's like 2 or 3 chapters out by this point. Yeah. But like I read so much, and I think that I enjoy Jujutsu, and because I'm not current with it, I've read a few volumes of it.
I've read about half of what's available.
Yeah, I've only read like 2 or 3, But I kind of don't want to because it's one of the only anime in the shonen territory where I can experience it as an anime fan.
Yeah, and literally just be like, it's one of the few anime I can look at and also have read the manga and be like, they improved. Like,
yeah,
the manga is good, and which some people will point out in the manga, some of the characters are drawn in darker ways to some extent.
Sure.
But as far as like actually taking the humor, taking the action, and like expanding on it and making it better, that anime 100% does it like almost perfectly.
And I think because I talked to you about it, that's what's also kept me like kind of away from it. Is one, it's nice to experience anime of like, I don't know what's going to happen.
It is, which is also why I stopped where I did, because I was like, do I want to get ahead? And I was like, no.
And especially when you have friends that are trusted your sensei through this journey, say they've improved upon it a lot.
Yeah, which some people do argue that like the early chapters like are a little better, but I don't know. I feel like the anime definitely had its improvements, especially upon the humor at the beginning. Like the timing of jokes was well done.
They made a Digimon reference.
They made a Digimon reference.
Listen, you had me. You already had me because it was the second season. I've already watched the first season of the movie, but you extra had me. It was like, Metal Greymon? And I was like, I know, I get that reference.
Yeah.
I understand
I mean, they could have always screwed it up, though. Like, that was honestly one of my fears. Like, them coming back and just it not being the same. Because it's not just, oh, this anime studio's doing it.
Right.
It depends on the animators, the director, but they nailed it. Like, so far, it's out of the park.
Yeah, I cannot find any complaints about it. Like, I'm always so excited when they release a new episode. And on top of that, at least for these 3 episodes, and even the first season, I remember wanting to backflip off my couch.
Yeah.
You know, like
multiple times.
Multiple times. And I really enjoyed the movie and stuff. But just talking about the new season coming out, I don't think in the 3 episodes that we've watched, there's nothing, and I might be like a blind fan or something like that. There's nothing that I'm like, they kind of, you know, ugh. Like even the first episode of the new part of Bleach, right? I was like, boy, it's a lot of setup.
Well, sadly, since it's going to be 4 parts, I feel like they're going to
Be some
slowly have some setup.
But I just don't feel that pacing issue with Jujutsu.
No, Jujutsu's on, well.
And they're not info dumpy.
Well, it's not, but you also have to think of the time that they were made in comparison. Like,
Bleach was literally made at the same time that Jujutsu was made.
No, I'm saying the original work, bud.
Yeah, but I don't think you can use that. I don't think you can use that excuse. I'll tell you why.
If they're actually being like, you know, somewhat.
You have Tite Kubo.
Tite Kubo, yes, he's helping.
He's helping it.
Yes,
he can frame it differently now.
He should frame it differently, but doesn't mean he's going to.
I don't know. I don't like. Okay, so if you were talking about the seasons of Bleach that came out during that time,
oh yeah, 100%.
I don't think you can put 1,000-Year Blood War in that. I don't think you can give it that same leniency.
No, because 1,000-Year Blood War has been a vast improvement. Yeah, I'll give them that.
And it's competing with current stuff because it's being made currently. Yeah. So I don't feel like that criticism. Bleach doesn't get a pass on that.
Well, no, it shouldn't. It shouldn't get past, but I'm going to go ahead and say, like, yeah, the pacing is still the pacing from back then. Like, if you watch 1,000-Year Blood War, especially season 2 so far, it is back in the day pacing. Yeah. It is slow.
Yeah.
It's not like Jujutsu where it's literally the setups are happening while you're seeing the action.
Right.
It's just a different.
It's a different animal, and that's the thing that I've really enjoyed is even though stuff is info dumpy, right? I feel like they have integrated it into story beats so well, it doesn't feel like this is happening and this is why it's happening.
Here's this guy that's going to explain
things. Hey, here's, Trevor, take it away. And Trevor's like, all right. He eats the fingers and Sakuno is this devil that, you know what I mean? Talking about pacing. So I did something, Rex.
What'd you do?
So I got caught up in my physical releases of Black Clover.
Oh.
Yeah, I will say I am so glad it's coming back. It would be a disservice to Black Clover not to do the Spade Kingdom War arc. This thing is absolutely incredible. I also think it's very close to being done. I know I'm still 40 chapters behind in digital release, but I feel like it's coming to a close.
Gotcha.
I think that if he goes further than this, it's a Cell Games scenario.
Yeah, I was about to say, it's going to start hitting the Dragon Ball Z of it all.
Yeah. And speaking of, like, I think that the action in Black Clover is super well done in the anime. I will say some of the action scenes, you get lost a little bit in the manga. But it's funny that you mentioned Dragon Ball. So I got done with Black Clover. You know what I started? Dragon Ball Super, Volume 1.
Oh, boy. How'd that go?
In manga form. Here's the thing.
Do you like it more than the anime?
100%.
I bet.
I'll tell you why. Let me tell you this. This blew my goddamn mind. So, you know, we joke about Dragon Ball Super, but we're still fans and stuff like that. You know, it'll always hold a place in our heart because it's Dragon Ball.
I mean, yeah, we grew up with it. Exactly. Nostalgia's a fucking drug that you can't get by.
By the end of Volume 1, it's 7 chapters. They're already halfway through the Universe 6 versus Universe 7 arc. So, to put it in perspective, if you didn't know, the anime had Battle of Gods and Resurrection F arc, and then the Universe 6 through 7 arc. So, it was like 70 or something episodes. By the end of the first volume, we are in the middle of the 6 and 7. Do you know how they did this? 2 chapters is where he fights Beerus and becomes Super Saiyan God. To just like, it's really like a chapter and a half. Let me tell you the Resurrection F arc.
It's
you ready?
Literally like 2 chapters. Maybe 1.
Page and a half.
What the fuck?
Let me tell you, in like little speech bubbles, it's like Goku and Vegeta trained, and Frieza came back to Earth, and they defeated his golden form, and they're immediately already at Super Saiyan God. It's a fucking blurb.
That's real weird. I don't know if I actually like that more.
It's wild. As a person, like, I think it's actually really weird if you've never seen the anime or the movies.
If you don't watch that, it's just real weird. It's like, why are you just explaining the story instead of showing
and
the story?
And I think there might be an editor note. I know there's one during the Battle of Gods chapters where it says, if you want to see, because you've watched it, right?
I've watched the movies. I did not watch the series.
No need. You can just watch the movies, skip to it. That's what I always tell people. But the editor note said, if you want to see the fun on the boat for Bulma's birthday, you remember, because they're having like a party, and that's when Beerus comes in.
Yeah. Backhands.
Yeah. Check out the movie Battle of Gods. Like, it just tells you like a little editor note of like, if you want to see this more in depth. Because in the chapter, it's literally Goku gets beat up on King Kai's planet in Super Saiyan 3. Again, go check out the anime art for that, because it's like known to be shitty fucking animation of his Super Saiyan 3 form. Have you seen the memes of this?
Yes, I've seen.
Incredible.
You showed it to me.
It's fucking incredible.
I thought this was fan animation.
Yeah, so it's just like, so he gets beat up, and then he just instant transmit. Like, Vegeta does have his My Bulma moment.
Yeah.
It's literally like, goes to the ship, My Bulma, Vegeta gets almost bodied by Beerus, Goku steps in. Hey, I gotta go Super Saiyan God. You know what I'm saying? Like,
we get the crew.
Yeah, well, you get the crew being like, Super Saiyan God, come into me.
Yeah, basically.
And Vegeta's mad that he...
why can't I be the one?
And it's just it's a little editor note of like, you want to see this more in depth, go check out the movie.
So, okay, before you continue.
Sure.
This is crazy as fuck to me because... So back in the day when... anime was first coming to America, I guess. At least I assume they only did this in America. Maybe it was also in Japan.
Sure.
But Cromartie High School was like an early series that came over. And if you watch the anime, there's literally parts where he's describing his past, and he's like, yeah, I did this thing, and that's why people consider me a badass. But if you really want to know about it, you need to go check out the manga. Like, they do shit like that to try to get you to read the manga. The fact that Dragon Ball Super is doing the opposite, that blows my mind.
It's fucking incredible.
That is incredible. Because back in the day, animes doing that, being like, I guess you should have read the manga, was a big thing. Like, it's a joke, honestly.
Yeah.
But having the reverse, I've never heard of this.
It's the reverse Horum, Rex. It's like, go check out when I was reading it, I was so blown, because I've read thousands of chapters of manga.
I mean, you've read more than me.
Yeah, and I have never seen this. And I was like, Toriyama's on the fucking joke. He's in on the fucking joke. He has to be on the fucking joke. To have the whole resurrection arc in little, like, narrator blurbs, because Dragon Ball's big on, like, you know, the narrator thing of it, and just to be like, Frieza came back to Earth, Goku and Vegeta went Super Saiyan God, Super Saiyan, beat Golden Frieza, and now they're training for this thing.
That's crazy.
That was the resurrection. I want to give it credit because, like, it just shows me that I really believe, and that's why I'm so confused that the anime felt the need to redo those movies in anime form.
Yeah.
Because it really showed to me that those movies were made to gauge the interest in Dragon Ball fans to bring Super.
Well, yeah, because I remember when those movies originally came out, I was confused by them, actually.
Yeah.
Because I was so out of the loop with it. I was like, what the fuck even is this?
Mm-hmm. and so that's the thing, and it really confuses me, and I like I said, I do want to give it credit, but it confuses me of why, if they were meant to gauge interest for the Dragon Ball Super manga, I understand having the need to explain how Vegeta and Goku get to the levels that they get to, because you couldn't have Goku Super Saiyan 3 go into Ultra Instinct.
No.
Because that's pretty much like it. He needed that new transformation.
Yeah.
But you didn't give a fuck so much about Frieza, and Frieza plays such a key role later on. You didn't know we had a break?
Probably.
We had a break because I actually wanted to make sure I was right, and I was wrong. Corrections in the middle of a podcast. It is not a page and a half.
No, it's not.
It's a panel.
A whole fucking panel for a whole arc of a show.
And a movie.
It's
incredible, isn't it, Red? Now that I've shown you.
It makes no sense to me. That blows my fucking mind. Like, okay, what Cromartie High School did back in the day actually kind of made sense. They referenced each other, like the anime and the manga, constantly would make shots back at each other.
Yeah.
But this is literally just like, I don't care.
I don't give a shit.
Like, I'm just literally chained to this desk.
Yeah, man. I now looking back on that with you, it is so incredibly amazing. I've never seen anything like it.
I've never seen manga do that.
And for a whole transformation, because the setup is like Vegeta immediately goes God or blue, and Goku goes blue, and then it's just a cut to panel of this is why. A whole Frieza, some would say the main villain of the series.
I mean, that argument could easily be made.
Because now he has a new form through we beat Golden Frieza. Imagine if you're just reading just straight manga and you're like, what the fuck is Golden Frieza?
Yeah, why is this?
It is ballsy. Toriyama, not giving a fuck.
For sure.
He's like, listen, I got to get out of this desk now. But the reason that I started reading this, and we kind of talked a little bit off mic, but is because I have been really trying to branch out into like different things, and sometimes you get darker things or you get some shoujo in it and stuff like that. Shonen, and especially shonen that even I talk shit about, is become my palate cleanser.
Yeah, it's like a comfort food.
Yeah, it's like that comfort show that you turn on when you're eating food or something like that. Like, it has become that thing of, that's why I've gotten through Black Clover and stuff like that, because I read when I go to sleep. And sometimes either you had a long day or you're tired and you're like, I don't know how long I'm going to read, but I like to read just to keep in the habit of it. Let's read some shonen. One, depending on the shonen, and especially, the Black Clovers, the Dragon Balls, stuff like that have heavy action. Mm-hmm. Sometimes you can get through a volume in about 15, 20 minutes.
One Piece, other than a few areas, you can fly through.
Yeah. Sometimes it gets a little wordy. And I've noticed that Dragon Ball is more wordy than Black Clover. Black Clover fucking moves. And it kind of goes back to your point you're talking about, like Jujutsu. I think Super, One Piece for sure, Bleach, is that era. So they've kept some traditions of that era, which is like sometimes it can get a little wordy.
Yeah.
Instead, with the Jujutsus and the Black Clover, when it's on, it's just on.
It's on, yeah.
Yeah, and I think it's so nice, for as much shit as we talk about shonen sometimes, it has really carved out its lane in the genre of easeability. And you can kind of understand why shonen is a lot of people's first dipping their toe in.
Well, it's also just because it's literally the most readily available.
Yeah.
Like, for the longest time, as far as watching anime, shonen was like the majority.
Right. And
still is, really. Yeah.
Honestly. And it's the most mass appeal, too.
Yeah.
Because I don't think it can be understated. I actually, got to talk to, and he filmed it for his channel, Geeks the Parent. He wanted to talk to me about, like, YouTube stuff and stuff like that. He's around our age.
Gotcha.
And he talked about he got into it by My Hero Academia.
Really?
He did.
So, the same time you got back into
it. And that's what we kind of talked about is, I don't want to give out, like, personal stuff, but we talked about it, and the conversation started getting to, I said, no matter what we say about My Hero,
it was a gateway.
It was a gateway, and you cannot understate, and that's why I think it'll still be in the conversation. I think we might even had this discussion on this podcast. Part of the conversation because you always think like kids got into it by My Hero, but to see someone around our age being like, "This is how I discovered," like this whole thing.
It's understandable.
It really is because the superhero it came out at the perfect storm, perfect time.
It was timed at Marvel's hype.
Yeah. So even if it fell off or whatever, it will always be so important to a ton of people that are making.
That's kind of like Sword Art for a lot of people too.
Yeah.
Like it's just one of those generational ones.
And Sword Art came out to. Because it was one of the first, or one of the most popular, maybe not the first, but most popular, that integrated the MMO gameplay in a game type of thing. And I think it even came out around the time that 3D and like VR was being talked about too.
3D was definitely,
definitely.
2012, yeah.
Yeah.
But VR was still a little ways away, in which, I don't think VR is the future, but.
Me neither.
We'll see.
As a person with glasses, VR is not the future. Okay? Actually, I'll put that because apparently, the Apple Vision Pro, that thing that is like $3,500.
Yeah.
Apparently, and I could be absolutely wrong about this, you can't wear it with glasses.
Then what are you supposed to do?
Then what the fuck am I supposed to do?
Yeah,
exactly.
About to say, I have also seen, this has nothing to do with Apple, but a guy from MIT has made a thing where he can literally just use his thoughts to Google things.
I've seen that too.
Yeah, wild.
Where he like had it all Cyberpunk 2077 and shit.
And he was like, I just ordered a pizza. And I was like, you monster.
I love pizza. Actually,
I would accidentally be ordering things in my sleep. I would not want to see what's at my front door when I wake up.
Can you imagine? Who do I sue when it put me in poverty from my own mind because I went on Amazon in my brain and ordered fucking 17 full body pillows?
My thing is, how do you I just don't know how that works.
How do you turn it off?
Yeah.
If it's wired in you, how do you turn it off? Do you ever turn it off?
See, that's the things I fear right there.
Rex's Conspiracy Corner.
A little bit.
But yeah, man, it is wild to think about where technology could be at. And I actually think it's highly possible because our eyes, as a person that used to sell TVs, our eyes can only pick up a certain amount.
Oh yeah.
You know what I mean? And some people have better eyes, but there's the certain amount of like the 4K of it all, right? Now they have 8K, and I'm sure they have shit that we haven't even seen for consumption. I saw a TV that's foldable.
I mean,
have you seen that?
No, but I just remember watching like How I Met Your Mother and him having a TV that apparently got shipped on a freighter to his house. You know, that's a whole wall.
Yeah, he's like laying in bed and it's like
you don't have a TV? The whole wall lights up. That's the kind of fuck you money that I wish we had.
Amen. Maybe one day, dude.
Maybe.
But yeah, and I think that there is a absolute future that we can put on something over our eyes because we can only disconcern so many things, and we can live inside of like an anime or a video game. Live is that's a wrong word, but we can be inside of that and
experience a world that way.
I just don't see it having. I don't see it us being lost and not being able to differentiate the real world and the fake world.
See, that's the thing that I'm curious about because I'm not sure if you saw what they did. I think NVIDIA actually recently released a thing, which was adaptive AI for inside games. Have you seen this, El?
No.
Okay, so this is actually really fucking cool.
Okay, all right. I'm listening.
So the thing that they posed was with this adaptive AI, essentially, if you're playing like the next Grand Theft Auto, which God knows won't come out for 10 years.
Yeah.
Because they're still milking number 5.
Oh, yeah. Oh,
but,
number 5, print money.
Yeah. But when the new one comes out, say you're looking for a mob boss, you walk up to a random person on the street, you can ask them questions literally with your actual voice, and they will tell you what they know. These AI, like the NPCs, will actually be able to learn things, which I feel like is bad news for Grand Theft Auto because half the people I know just go through there violent as shit, killing people. Like these
Can
people,
they contact the police?
Yeah, can they contact the police? Also, will they just attack you if they're like, this is the guy that beat in my girlfriend's head or something?
Well,
you know?
I mean, yeah, because you got to think about it. There's games that have done that before a long time ago. Very rudimentary.
Yeah, but it was very rudimentary. These the amount of processes that they showed is insane.
Yeah, but what I'm saying, I absolutely think it makes a logical leap because what was that game? It was a Lord of the Rings game where you could. It was
Shadow of Mordor.
Yeah, it was like a nemesis system where it's like
that's
you
Shadow
kill.
of Mordor.
So we've seen that. That was 8 years ago. By the time
been a
it's been a long. Oh, we're
but
so old.
Literally for this, they're saying like every NPC
will
have learning AI, which just seems insane. Like
seems
you're just
so
asking
crazy.
around on the streets looking for
whoever
a crime.
Yeah. What
Crazy.
the fuck? Maybe we are going to be in a future where
it's going to be hard to tell.
Maybe.
Yeah, because they're saying.
Think about the mental break someone's going to have. Our future, not our kids, but like someone's kids, because they had kids. But the future where that mental ability to differentiate
real world.
Yeah. Because even where we host this podcast, like the Buzzsprout, we host it on Buzzsprout or whatever.
Yeah.
If you want to sponsor us, Buzzsprout, we're bringing in downloads to your service.
We try.
We're doing our best. But they have now a co-host AI.
Say what?
Yeah. I again never clicked it because I have, we have each other.
Yeah.
We have friends in the real world. But apparently, I read a little bit about it just because I got curious. And it is that thing where you can kind of program it and it'll learn about like the type of podcast that you're doing, and it can kind of help you host it.
That sounds wild.
Sounds super weird, doesn't it? But with those little things, it's not a illogical step, and especially even in our lifetime, the jump from we had NESs to what the fucking PS6 or whatever is going to be. If you just look at that little bit, it's incredible.
It's insane. We went from literally pixels to rendering
in such a short amount of time that jump when we're 60 and on episode fucking 1112 of the anime podcast.
Yeah, hopefully you guys are sticking around.
Yeah, hey, subscribe to the channel and stuff, but support. And we could be in their living rooms. It could just be like a hologram of us. Could you imagine? You can see that.
I have seen literally where I think it was for a soccer team.
Yeah.
They were going through Japan and their vehicles had holograms that were going up. And I was like, is this
I've seen that.
I was like, is this fucking real? Like, what?
Yeah.
Is this future?
The future's so fucking scary, man.
It is.
And I guess I'm not scared of it as much as I'm just like, when is it enough? Like, when do we stop?
Yeah, that is the question.
Like, when do we stop? Do we stop?
It's like the whole, God, I can't think of Icarus.
Yeah, how close do we get to the sun?
Yeah.
Before we melt ourselves. I guarantee you some people are listening right now, and they're like, we are already on a trajectory.
We are already melting. Have you seen the temperatures? That one town was like 100,000 degrees.
McKinney or whatever.
Yeah, McKinney.
I love that shit. That dude was just like, they're dead.
No one is there.
I think that was in Texas.
Yeah, which, not surprising.
Yeah, it's fucking hot in Texas, dude. Never been to Texas, but
I've been through.
Yeah, it seems hot.
Even at night, it was pretty warm.
Yeah. It's just like, and I totally understand, and this is not like a fun topic for a podcast or whatever, but I totally understand why people are so like not giving a fuck like about like aliens and stuff like that.
Yeah, U.S. government, aliens exist. Boy, I gotta pay my bills.
Yeah, like who gives a fuck? Because it is true. I think we're moving at such a speed that why does it matter?
Well, yeah, unless you brought it up, like the guy with the whiteboard.
Yeah.
Unless it somehow affects my daily.
Yeah,
like,
I love that dude.
Yeah, that's.
He has a whiteboard, right? I'll explain it. If you watch it like on social media, it was probably on TikTok or Instagram or something. It's like, do I have to go to work? If it's yes, it doesn't matter. If it's no, it spawns another question. Do I have to pay my bills? If the answer is yes, doesn't matter. If the answer is no, it matters. It's such a quick little clip, but he nailed it. Like he nailed the zeitgeist that we're feeling right now.
That's what everyone's feeling, I feel like.
Yeah. And it's the old man ranting podcast, dude.
It is.
It's
because we don't have the
young one. We don't have the young one to keep us fucking young and hip.
You say that, but he lives the same life we do.
If not worse in some things. Fucking Jesus, Godspeed, buddy. But yeah, we made it. We did it. We did it. What a fucking weird way to end it.
Hey, we went some distance there. We went all around the world.
We ended it in such a fucking nothing matters. That's how you know the OGs got back together. Nothing fucking matters.
Some anime ended that way.
Fucking, what is Cowboy Bebop?
No, I like the ending.
I love the ending.
Yeah, I was about to say, the
Bebop.
ending for Cowboy Bebop is memorable because of the way it was.
Did you know the final episode of Toonami, Bob? Isn't that his name? Bob?
No.
Tom. Excuse me.
I was like, who the
fuck is Bob?
Yeah.
You're right. Get Bob out of here.
The builder?
Yeah, Tom. Do you know how he signed off on his final broadcast?
No, but I did watch it, I'm sure.
Okay, so he, his little spaceship or whatever is flying away. The last thing he says is bang.
Really?
100%.
That's crazy.
Go look up the clips on YouTube. He says bang, and I'm like,
good reference.
Hey, legend. So we're going to end this on a positive note. Tom, legend, not Bob. Bob, we don't give a fuck about. But we do give a fuck about, Rex.
Yeah, we give a fuck about you guys. So if you would please go to our YouTube, AnimeUnraveled Pod, leave a comment below. Let us know what anime you're excited about that's currently coming out. There's a good few that I am. Jujutsu especially.
Yeah, Jujutsu's up there.
Yeah.
And if you like us in short burst, and you want to see if we ever post again, it's like a little game you can play where you follow us. You can go on TikTok, AnimeUnraveled Pod on the TikTok. We're going to be doing something, eventually, probably, hopefully, maybe. We'll see. And then, the other guy that's usually here, he says it's his favorite part of the episode. It's where he tells you guys to please leave a review, like, and subscribe. It really helps us out. And then sometimes he goes on a diatribe where he's like, Spotify, go over to YouTube.
If you don't like our faces.
Yeah, YouTube, go over to TikTok. TikTok, go over to Spotify. You just want endless circle, endless loop.
Just go to all of them.
But as always, and to end on a positive note, because we did get a little dark there. A smidge as we do. When it's us two. We really appreciate everyone that listens and subscribes to YouTube, on Spotify. Just putting up with our shenanigans, man.
And not too many more subscribers on YouTube until I had to finish Hunter x Hunter, and he has actually started.
The challenges begin. We're getting
the sword
close.
art of it's gonna be what kills me.
Yeah, that's what's gonna get you. But we just really appreciate everybody, and we will see you guys next week, hopefully with Tristan.
Yeah.
Bye.
Later.